If you're an MSP or other services partner to hyperscalers or other vendors, you've probably built your business on the leads your vendors sent you. But those referrals have slowed way down. Cold email and cold calling barely get results anymore, and you've probably become really uncertain about where your next deals are coming from. If that's you, look, you're just not alone, because we looked at 1,000 different MSP and other service partners and how they run their go-to-market, and almost none of them have a consistent, repeatable way to bring in leads on their own, completely independent of vendors. In this video, I want to break down the 3 things that get you a steady flow of your own quality leads so you can get new deals coming in every month, flip the script and actually bring business to your vendors, which they love, by the way, and create a consistent, self-sufficient demand engine. Let's dive in. Now, before I get into how to build your own leads, you have to see why the old way just stopped working. A lot of partners have never built their own way to bring in leads, which honestly isn't surprising. They're service-based businesses, right? Who are experts at fulfillment, not lead gen. You've been experts at delivering services and value, not actually creating demand. Now, out of the 1,000 companies that we looked at, 56% are running 0 paid media or only LinkedIn, which tells you that more than half of them are completely dependent on vendor referrals and cold outreach. That's the key. No lead source they actually control. And it works fine while vendors keep sending business and cold outreach still gets replies. But right now, both of those things have slowed way down. So that leaves you with 2 problems to solve. First, which you've already seen, you're just not getting enough leads anymore. And second is that even the leads you do get, whether you happen to create them on your own or if they are coming from vendors, they're usually low quality. They've lost interest. They don't go anywhere. And there's no easy way to win them back or get them to progress further down the funnel. Now, we've seen this happen with a few different partners that we're working with where they get leads from vendors. And the challenge, though, is those leads don't really go anywhere. We had one partner who got 20, 30 different leads over the period of a quarter, and none of those leads responded to any outreach. It's almost like they didn't even exist. Now, the reason for this is a lot of vendors get leads from content syndication providers. These providers go out, they get people to download content. Some of them are a little fraudulent. These people actually aren't downloading what the provider says they're downloading, which is a whole other challenge. But the challenge for you is that you get a lead, you get it from a vendor, you think it's going to actually result in at least a discovery call or some conversation, and you never hear from that person. Or maybe if your internal sales team does connect with them, they don't remember downloading the white paper. These leads do not progress, and vendors don't really spend a lot of time generating leads that are warm. Think about it. They're generating leads for their own internal sales teams to go out and close and win. That is where they're spending their time. Typically, leads that you get from vendors, if you happen to get any, they aren't that warm. They aren't ready for a conversation yet, and they typically tend to go nowhere. If you are getting leads on your own, you've probably made an attempt to try paid media, right? To get some sort of consistency or at least brand awareness. And I bet that someone, if not you, within your company has said it felt like a massive waste of money. But look, saying that paid media doesn't work is pretty much like saying the same thing that, hey, your car is broken when you really never put any gas in it. The problem we see is how most partners run paid media. They're running a few ads, they're spending some money, and doing that is just never going to bring in new deals on its own. Just because you put some ads out on LinkedIn and put some spend behind them doesn't actually mean people are going to convert. And most partners end up taking their whole ad budget, they put it all on LinkedIn, and that is super expensive. They put it all on red. Never a good strategy, especially on a channel like LinkedIn that has just gotten more and more expensive. And the reason it's gotten more expensive is because there are only so many IT decision makers in your audience that are on LinkedIn. But every partner, every software company now is bidding to reach those same people. It has become easier than ever to launch ad campaigns on platforms like LinkedIn, and LinkedIn loves it. But it makes the competition more fierce, it makes the demand high on an already limited supply, and that's when you see the price go up. Everyone is competing for the same small audience, and the cost just keeps going up for everyone. And typically, partners end up spending anywhere from $50 to $80 just to put your ad in front of 1,000 people, when the same 1,000 views runs you more like $8 to $15 on channels like Meta or programmatic. Anyway, let's start with the first problem, which is you're not getting enough leads. You need to start by building an audience that you actually own. This is a critical piece. Own, not rent. Here's the difference. A lot of partners don't know that they've actually never owned their own audience. They've only been renting it. Now, what that means is when you use LinkedIn or other marketing tools to go out and identify and market to through paid media an audience, you don't actually own any of the data that those tools are using to engage with those people, right? LinkedIn owns the data. Meta owns the data. Google owns the data. They keep it all from you. You only can reach that audience while you're paying. If you stop paying, you lose access. Your marketing is resulting in converted leads. Only once a lead converts do you actually own that data. But the problem to begin with is that there's very little or no conversion. So you're renting an audience, you're paying a premium, and you don't ultimately own it. In order for you to build your own demand engine, the first step is you need to own your audience. Because when you own your audience, instead of just renting attention with ads, you decide who sees you and you decide what to show them. You can give your buyer something genuinely useful and earn their trust before you ever ask for the sale. And there are lots of tools out there now to help you own your audience. Lead Genius, Apollo, Clay, Ocean.io. There are many to choose from. There are 3 specific types of audiences I would build. Together, they cover just about everyone who could become a customer. The first is probably the most basic, but the most important. You need to identify every company that could realistically hire you. Your total addressable market. You put together a list out of every company that fits your ICP or your ideal customer profile. Typically, that's your basic stuff. Industry, size, the tech that they run, their employee count, their location, that type of detail. There are 2 ways to go about this more strategically. 1, there is a lucky few who have access to the vendor target account lists that your vendors are trying to create business within. Microsoft has something they call the MAL, the Microsoft account list. They don't give it to partners. But if you're one of the lucky few partners who does have access to that, that is your adjustable market. Those are the companies that you really want to be selling to. And then if you know them, you can orchestrate your entire go-to-market against those specific accounts. If you are part of the unlucky masses who don't have access to such a list, you need to create your own target account list. Like I mentioned earlier, there are tons of different tools out there to help you to do that. Apollo, Ocean, Lead Genius, there's no shortage of them. And to help you, one of the things that we often do is start with who your existing customers are today. You want to create lookalikes of those accounts. Look at the accounts you've already won. Yes, what is their industry? What is their revenue? What is their headcount? What's their location? All important things, but also layering in different signals. Things that were going on at that company that indicated, or that might have been happening right before they decided to do business with you. Did they just start using a new technology? Did they just close on a new implementation? What was the solution? Use technographics to go out and find other accounts that use that technology. Did they just hire a new executive? Were they growing in headcount or in revenue? Did they just take on new funding? These are examples of some of the most basic signals that help you fine-tune your lookalike audience. So start with who your existing customers are, layer in different signals that kind of push that account a little bit farther down the funnel so that you have a higher chance of engaging that account when the timing is right. A lot of people love to talk about intent. Intent is very black box. I think there's a better form of intent for data. Again, going back to ownership, there is account intent data that you own, and that is part of the third audience type that I'll get to. It's not about Bombora or 6sense or Demandbase or any of these really expensive black box intent providers. You don't need those. You need this third audience, which I will get to. But before that, the second type of audience is the specific people inside those companies who are part of hiring you. Companies don't make decisions, people do. And for a lot of partners, that's the person who, yes, is actually using your service or directly benefits from it. And of course, whoever controls the budget, right? Whoever controls the out decision. This is called the buying committee. You want to put together the buying committee members of each of the accounts that you're going into. There's a company called Dynatrace. Their ABM marketing team is top-notch. What they call their buying committee are the contacts that matter. There are 6 contacts that matter that go across their entire buying committee, going from higher level decision maker, not usually the CEO, but an EVP or an SVP, all the way down to manager level, right? They're covering people that hold the strategic decision, that have the budget, the purse strings, that have the real bigger vision problem that needs to be solved. They're covering that person all the way down to the manager who is actually like in the trenches implementing the solution that Dynatrace offers. Those are the people that you want to map across your buying committee. You need to know the exact folks that you should be engaging with and that you should be talking to. And my recommendation is don't just leave this up to sales. Don't just leave this up to a salesperson to figure out on their own. You should have identified for every salesperson who those people are and in what responsibility positions, either so they all know who to look for in the same way, or better yet, you've already identified those people for them. And then all sales needs to do is go out and reach out to those folks. Or all marketing needs to do now is to create that audience inside your CRM where you own that data and use it to launch email campaigns, paid media campaigns, whatever they're going to be doing. But the key is know those contacts that matter, own them in your CRM, and define those for the sales and marketers that are going to be using them. Don't leave it up to them to find them on their own. All right, the third type of audience, this is the one I'm most excited about. This gets you away from all that black box intent that sounds like a magic bullet, which actually just ends up being really expensive and not necessarily helpful. This third audience are the people that are already coming to your website. The warmest of the three, they've already showed up, they've already done their own work, they've already found you and landed on your site. The vast majority of partners do nothing with these visitors. Visitors come, they leave, they never hear from the partner again. This is your owned first-party intent. We talk about data ownership. These are the leads, these are the people that you should be owning. When you run campaigns through LinkedIn, through Meta, through TikTok or whatever, through Google, they own your visitors. You put their pixel on your site. They never tell you who actually visits your website. They just enable you to retarget that person across their own network. You've got to hope that the person visiting your website that came in through Google, that came in through LinkedIn as an ICP fit, because you're also now going to spend money to reach them again through these different tools that own the data, that are renting it to you, that aren't actually telling you which accounts and people are coming to your site. You've spent money to get them there. You should own that visitor traffic. The fancy term for this in the world right now is website de-anonymization. They are de-anonymizing. They are showing you that it's Zeb Couch visiting your website, not Zeb's user ID, not some unknown pixel or cookie that the platform used to retarget. They are actually telling you it is Zeb. And you can then determine for yourself, is Zeb within your ICP or not? Do I want to store Zeb in my CRM or not? You can own the data. There's a ton of different vendors out there that now provide this as a standalone solution. RB2B instantly has their own solution. There are a ton of different choices out there now, vector to choose from. The way these solutions work, you put their pixel on your website, it tracks who's visiting, they reveal it to you either through Slack or through some CSV export that you can put into your CRM, and you can do whatever you want with that audience. You can have your sales team directly follow up. You can give it to marketers then to launch different campaigns against, okay? This is about owning your audience data, owning your visitors, and it's a critical piece to generating your own demand engine. By the way, if you want to take the first step today in building your own demand engine and having it completely done for you by a team of experts, you can get a free demand blueprint by clicking the first link below in this video. The demand blueprint is a scorecard plus playbook that shows you where you're leaking demand, exactly how to fix it, and gives you a 90-day playbook to get it done. Whether you work with us or not, the demand blueprint is yours to keep. Click below now to get it. Let's keep going. Once you've built those 3 audiences, you own the exact people you want to reach. But having the right audience only gets you so far, because if your ad gives them no reason to care, they'll scroll right past. Now, a lot of partners run the exact same type of ad when they're using paid media. One that goes straight to book a demo with a logo on it. But that only works on a tiny number of people who are ready to buy in that exact moment. So everyone else has no reason to stop and they just keep on scrolling. This is one of the main reasons why people think LinkedIn is just so expensive. Don't get me wrong, LinkedIn is very pricey, but you make it even worse when you are just sending book a demo ads. You are paying for impressions for people who are never going to click. And that is a waste of money. No wonder why you feel like it's so expensive. And those impressions that you serve against people that don't click, you think those are the leads that you lost, when in reality, they never had a reason to respond in the first place. So what you want to do is show people different ads depending on how close they are to buying. This is where creative comes in, and building the right creative for the right buying stage. Now, most people seeing your ads, they just aren't ready to buy yet. So for them, your ad should teach them something useful rather than pushing for a meeting. Once someone already knows who you are and they're trying to decide if you're the right fit, that's when a case study or a quick customer story would be best, right? This is the difference between building awareness and helping to foster consideration of you as a solution provider. Now, the ad that asks straight up for a demo or to start now really only goes to a small group who are actually ready to buy right now. Your retargeted website visitors to your solutions or your pricing pages, that is a great example of the type of audience you target with that type of offer. Now, for that demo ad specifically, there are 4 jobs that it has to do to get a response. Let me walk you through the 4 jobs your creative should do using some solid example creative. The first job is showing the person you're talking to them specifically, like opening the ad with a line directed right at the person's role, responsibility, or their company. In the example, below the logo, the very first line is talking to AWS partners, because we're of course retargeting companies that we know are AWS partners. The second job is naming the exact problem your target user, your audience is dealing with, so it feels urgent enough to stop scrolling. In our example, we're just directly asking, need more qualified leads? Because this is a retargeting campaign, we know this person is aware of our solution, is aware of the solution that we offer. They just bounced for whatever reason. So we're trying to bring them back. And of course, one of the core problems that we're helping to solve is driving more qualified leads. So we call that out immediately. The third job is showing some proof that it actually works. This could be a result that you achieved for a customer, some metric, again, tangible social proof, evidence. That is why this piece of creative ads trusted by 200 plus AWS partners. And then of course, the fourth job is the ask, the book a demo or book a call. Now this only works once the first 3 jobs have been done correctly. In this case, start free call to action. Maybe this is something that was lost on them when they originally visited. Maybe they were looking at a pricing page thinking that there was an initial investment here that needed to be made. No, we are calling out that this is for AWS partners. We are letting them know about what specific pain we can help them to solve. We're showing them social proof. And third, we're making it easy for them to start. This is a great example of creative that hits all 4 steps. And sometimes more important than the ad itself is what people see after they click. A lot of partners send every click to their homepage or to a generic contact form that has nothing to do with the ad or the offer that was presented in that ad. There is a disconnect there, and that is often where you see drop off. Once the user gets there, if they don't see what was promised or what the ad led them to believe you could help them to solve for, they're going to bounce. They're going to leave. And that click, that impression that you paid such a premium for is wasted. What you want is a page built for that ad, right? That talks about the same problem and makes the next step obvious. There needs to be a connection there. All right, even when your audience and your ads are right, you're still going to run into one last problem, which is that only a small part of your market is ready to buy or have a conversation with you at any given time. The rest aren't bad leads. They're just months away from making a decision. When someone sees your ad once and doesn't book, it usually means they just saw you too early in their sales cycle. The mistake here would be treating these people as dead leads or moving on, or making the mistake that paid media or outbound just doesn't work. When in reality, it does work. Those people are most likely to buy just later, and you need to stay persistent in being in front of them. But what you want to do is show your ads to the same person on as many channels with as high a frequency as you can handle. Getting truly cross-channel is important. You want to surround your prospect. They feel like you're everywhere, so that if they do end up having a pain worth solving, you will be top of mind. Remember, around 80% of your buyers have already picked who they want to talk to before they ever fill out a form. They're doing their research, they're investigating in channels, they're talking to their peers. You want to be top of mind, right? In all the places they work, live, and play. Also, keep in mind that before you even make the short list, they need to see you 8 to 12 times. And now no channel can deliver that type of number of impressions or that type of frequency on its own. Instead of only running ads on LinkedIn, you have to keep showing up for the same person on Meta, on YouTube, and again, wherever they spend their time, wherever they're working, living, and playing online. And by being truly cross-channel, every channel is actually helping the others, right? There's research showing that people who saw a LinkedIn ad were 46% more likely to convert when they later search for that company on Google. You want lift, you want multi-channel impact and effect, and being truly cross-channel and in front of your buyers and staying top of mind is how you do this. This is the exact kind of cross-channel connected setup we use AdGenius to run. AdGenius is a paid media platform we use that runs all channels off one connected system. The same buyer sees a consistent message from you across LinkedIn, Meta, Google, and everywhere anywhere else where they work, live, and play online. Because everything's connected, your budget automatically goes to whatever's performing. So you're able to do two important things. One, drive more leads by being in less saturated channels, and two, drive down your cost per lead. This works to drive new leads and also retarget much more efficiently those all-important high-intent website visitors. And of course, none of this depends on vendors needing to send you anything. Now, everything I just walked you through, you can build yourself. But before you do anything, the first step is to see exactly where your demand engine is leaking leads, pipeline, and just wasting money. That's exactly what our free demand blueprint is designed to do. Just click the first link in the description to get yours right now. You'll walk away with a custom analysis and a blueprint playbook showing you how to build or improve your demand engine over the next 90 days. You can grab your free blueprint by clicking the link in the description. And if you want to know what the best B2B paid media strategy is right now, then check out this video next.